Hi, I'm Lisa Singer. I am the Senior Director of Event Programming at MediaPost, and this is Brand Insider BTS, where I get to pull back the curtain on some of the most influential women marketers today. And with me is Kristin Sword. She is the Head of Marketing and Growth at Row. Hey, Kristin.
Hello, Lisa. It's so lovely to be here.
Yeah, it's so awesome to have you. I mean, we were just hanging out in Hilton Head, like 2 weeks ago for our retail summit. And here we are. So I'm very excited that we can, I get to hear about all your strategies at the retail summit. So now it's nice to hear a little bit more about the personal.
Oh man, this is gonna be a journey. I'm ready. I hope you're ready too.
Well, and I'm so thrilled because we had a lot of fun there. So it was really fun to connect and just I love doing this part of it. And as I mentioned, you're with Row Durham specifically, but Row itself is a telehealth company, and you guys really customize. You customize prescriptions, you customize hair care, skincare prescriptions. And so I just want to sort of sticking in that customized mode. If you could customize your perfect day, what would it be?
Man, perfect day. Okay, so I think this will depend on whether I am on the East Coast or the West Coast. I hop between the two quite a bit. I'm currently in New York, so my perfect day in New York would be getting up relatively early and having just like a nice relaxing morning. I really value quiet time and just thinking and meditating and writing, doing something active, whether that be a sport or a workout class or just something that gets my body moving. And then my absolute favorite thing about being in New York is the ability to just walk through the city. So picking a neighborhood, walking around, popping into art galleries, checking out stores, just like seeing really what the city has to offer. Obviously stopping for a cocktail and some bites.
Of course.
And then having dinner plans with friends set. So I like the morning being a bit more fluid and open to whatever comes, but one, set evening plan.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree with you. I've been similar to you, very bi-coastal, New York, LA. But the one thing that is a requirement, even if I'm living in an area where, say, a California, where I have a car, it needs to be a walking area. Like I need to be able to, I don't have to always get in my car because it's so nice just to be able to walk outside, not, and just see where it takes you. But so I agree. And I agree on the topping for cocktails. So I'll join you for that one. All right. So now let's even go a little bit, specific. You're walking around, you're having a cocktail. What is your customized meal? What would be that ideal meal?
Oh my gosh. I love food. And it's one of the reasons I love New York is I feel like everything is at my fingertips. I think my ideal meal switches on a daily, weekly basis, depending on my mood, but I've been really, really into this new wave of Korean restaurants that have come through, far more upscale and moving away from K-Town. So not like your traditional places that you would go, but these like new experimental spots. One of my favorites is in the Lower East Side. And it's just like this very elevated, fun way of experiencing this cuisine.
Very cool. I've actually never experienced that. So I'll have to, is it
Yes.
spicy? I'm not a spicy girl. Like I'm okay with spice, but not heat. I guess I should
Oh,
probably clarify
Oh
that.
yeah.
Okay.
This is, well, when you're in New York, we're gonna have to.
All right.
We're gonna
Yes, we
explore
will
together.
definitely go. That sounds perfect. And just one more with keeping customizing that perfect moment.
Oh gosh. Being around the people you love, laughing.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, that's awesome. So now I feel like I've gotten to know so much more, even after all of that. So now we'll get back to the career side a little bit, but still keeping on the personal level. I mean, you started, and I'm assuming from the description of it that it's an analytics company, Gallup, and I don't know if that's where we're at when you were first graduating school, because obviously then you went to the agency side and now here with Row. Or no, actually, I don't even think you went to the agency side. You were with different e-coms. That's it, e-com.
Yeah.
And if like I think even Dormify is one of them, which is funny. I just came across that brand a little while ago. And now obviously Row, so e-com. And it seems like digital analytics, that was a part of the plan, but I could be wrong. So take us back to when you were graduating. What were you thinking for your career? And then how did it evolve to here you are at Row now?
Man. All right. So the condensed version of this journey. When I graduated or when I was in school, I was hell-bent on being in politics. I was one of the people who watched The West Wing when I was 9 and wanted to grow up to be CJ Craig or Leo McGarry, and was just like all a part of that wave. Studied policy all through school, interned at a think tank in DC, interned at the California State Capitol, and then got in it and realized I wanted nothing to do with the environment that it was,
Wow.
but loved it. And so ended up working for Gallup, which felt tangential, right? Still connected to politics with the Gallup poll and everything that they did, but not being in the mix. And it was really an accidental foray into data and analytics. And it really, for the first time, was managing developers and designers. And I knew nothing about tech. I was sort of just like thrown into this world. And then a couple years later, my best friends from middle school, one that I've known since I was 6, and the 3 of us were best friends when we were 13, had this idea to start a company and basically asked, do you want to come out to New York and live in a 1-bedroom apartment with 4 other people and eat ramen and lentils and, you know, try really hard at the thing. And I was like, that sounds so glamorous and lovely.
Yeah, I was gonna say, woo, sign me up.
That's what I did. And from there have been on this e-commerce pathway, mostly in these earlier stage startups. So yeah, if I could go back to the beginning and say, did I think I was going to be here? Absolutely not. I never would have known. I wasn't one of those people who dreamed of being in New York and like made it out here. New York wasn't on my radar. And so it sort of was a career that unfolded in front of me without me realizing the direction it was going to take me.
Well, and it's funny because you said e-com startups, which obviously you're wearing a lot of hats. I mean, anyone who's at all been a part of that kind of business, even if it's not e-com, just a startup in general, you need to. So I think that almost gives you that, you know, that marketing. You always are trying to figure out how to sell the product, how to get people to know about your product. So marketing becomes sort of that innate thing that you need to learn automatically, whether it's a part of what you're doing anyway. Because as I said, you're head of marketing and growth. Is that sort of, did you see that as your forte? Like when you were doing all of these different things with these e-com brands, were you seeing that was maybe the sweet spot for you to work?
Yeah. So when I first started in this space back in like founding team startup days, what I knew my strength was good at building community. I was good with people in teams, and I was incredibly, I was organized and able to pull a bunch of different things together. Marketing in and of itself, or growth the way that we define it today, I honestly learned on the fly. This is back in 2015 when you could put up Facebook ads and get a 4x return. This was back when the world was very different. And I like to say that YouTube was my best teacher, as well as having some really strong mentors after that initial company was acquired and I went to my first startup and took on a marketing role. I had some incredible mentors who really took the raw materials and understanding and helped me build in a direction that makes sense, which is marketing and growth today. So again, I don't think it was something that I put the pieces together. I think it was something that, you know, I was at a startup, as you mentioned, you have to wear multiple hats, and we were like, we need marketing, and no one was available to do it but me. So I was like, I guess I'll watch YouTube.
Yeah.
That's
That's
how it happened.
Yeah, it sounds like when I first had to do I moderate a panel on programmatic marketing and for media posts, never knew anything. I was Googling programmatic for dummies, and there is programmatic for dummies. And I just read it through and was able to moderate, like it's just one of those, you can learn anything, which, I mean, that was obviously not YouTube, but I've learned many things on YouTube as well, even cutting my own hair.
Pandemic days.
No, I did it before, I think. I was just like, I was hating what everyone was doing, and I left my hairdresser because I had moved, and I'm like, I'm just doing it myself. And then it came out good. So I was like, why not just keep doing it?
Are you still cutting your own hair?
Yeah.
I am so impressed.
Yes, I had one bad time when I knew I did it wrong as I'm doing it. And then, so I had a little bit of a bilayer for a little bit, but it's grown out now. But yeah, no, I still.
I'm so impressed. It's so good.
I'll teach you next time when you're taking me out for Korean, then I'll teach you how to.
Oh my gosh, Korean food, wine, and hair cutting. What can go wrong?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I do cut my hair a lot when I come in from drinking. Like, I'm like, oh my God, my hair's bothering me. And I'll be like, I don't have the patience. And I'll just like go and do it. And I'm just like, I've already had a few drinks. It's just.
Talk about a risk taker, man.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the smartest thing to do, but it happens.
That's amazing.
Anyway, let's getting back to, so you working for these e-coms, you're taking these chances. Was there ever a time when you really sort of hit the wall? Maybe there was that real challenge at that time when you were like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do right now? Has there been that? And if so, what did you do?
Um, I feel like on a micro level, always, right? That's part of growth in marketing is you have these goals and you're like, something's not working. Why is it not working? CAC is too high, volume is too low. We need to fundraise, all of these sort of things. Like, what are we going to do? Like figure it out. So I feel like that happens on a micro level all the time. At a macro level, while I've, like everyone else, I have run into parts of my life where I've wanted something that is next, or I've been eager for something new, or I've been uncertain about the future. But I wouldn't say, looking back in hindsight, there was ever this like moment where I couldn't find a pathway forward. It just might not have been the pathway that I thought. So yes and no, I guess, is the answer. There's not like a singular moment in my life. I think the bigger understanding for me was approaching things with open hands, right? Like lots of roadblocks will come in your way. And if life is an ever flowing river, you will find that rocks will fall. And then you have to either find a way around the rock or just build up enough momentum to push it forward, right? Whatever that sort of thing is. It's just in the moment, it can be challenging.
I actually was, as you were talking, I was thinking to myself, you have this positive attitude. So it's almost, I feel like if you hit that challenge, maybe you don't right away go there, like not that it's not a challenge or not that it's not something that you're acknowledging, but I feel like instead of being like defeated initially, I feel like you look at things that, all right, now what do I need to do? And you're pretty open to, as marketers like to say, pivoting, and really moving in a different direction or whatever way it needs to be done. Would you say that would, describe you? And maybe that's where you've, in some ways, found your success and in some ways been able to adapt to whatever's come your way.
I would definitely say that positivity is true. You can ask my Clifton Strengths Finder. It is up there. I would also say, yes, it's probably a bit of nature and nurture. I think I've always been a pretty positive person, but I've also spent the majority of my years in early stage startups, which forces you out of the comfort zone of a game plan that is accurate and something that you will definitely bring forth in that way, right? I think at larger companies, sometimes I listen to Fortune 500s, especially fashion, right? And they're planning 18 months out. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I can't even get my team to plan 8 days out, right? Like it is just such a different world. And I think there's been a combination of both that has just sort of opened me to this space of, to your point, yes, just being willing to be like, this is a new thing today. Yeah. What are we going to do about it?
No, and I definitely can see that in you. Okay, so in that realm of you're ready to take anything, I'm going to do a little rapid fire. Okay, I do my snooping, as I always say, finding out different things. And of course, I saw on your LinkedIn page that, okay, let me read it so I don't get it correctly, that you are a listener of many podcasts, consumer of fine cocktails, we've already established that, avid sender of snail mail, and fervent believer that a hot dog is in fact a sandwich. So for rapid fire, here we go. Favorite podcast?
Oh my gosh. If I had to pick one, 99 PI, 99% invisible.
Favorite cocktail?
Cocktail of the moment, espresso martinis.
Oh yeah. Oh, so good. If you need to come to Deer Valley, they have the best ones. It's in Park City at this place. Oh my gosh. That's when I fell in love with them. Okay.
Say no more. I'm in.
Last time you sent a snail mail letter. And
this morning.
When?
This morning.
This morning. To who? If you don't mind, you don't have to.
Yeah, no. By the way, I'm convinced that I solely keep USPS alive because the amount of mail I sent. I spent the weekend with my friends in Philly. And so I sent them one in the mail. I try and send letters in the mail to friends after I see them, just as like a moment at time capsule. And then I try to send my parents one like every week or so.
Oh, that's so nice. I love that. Oh, that's so nice. I mean, I actually sometimes want to, when I have like these interviews or talk to someone and I feel like they were very generous or whatever, but you don't have their their, addresses, and it's not like, hey, so and so, can I get your address? You want to do that more than just an email. Like you want to have it personalized in a sense. But so I love that you do that. Okay.
Postcards specifically. Postcards specifically. It's like,
Postcards. Okay. I love that. So yes,
Mhm.
maybe because I end up usually, I don't text. If my friends like birthdays, things like that, I call, but, or, somehow follow up. But anyway, maybe I need to start investing in. I always think maybe get some monogrammed like stationery or something and just, send it out. Anyway,
whatever
okay.
fits your personal style. Honestly, that's what I also say as like a person who sends mail. It should just feel like you,
Yes.
whatever that feels like.
No, and I do think, as I said, like even like with Christmas cards, I always had to write long notes. Like it could never be just whatever, like a stamp or something like that. So
Same.
it just, I don't know, like, so I do agree that I just haven't gone to the next step as you do. And now getting to the hot dog debate. Now it is a huge debate out there. I did not realize this, but
It's
according to Merriam-Webster, I think I'm saying it correct, Merriam or Merriam, whatever. Anyway, you are correct. It is a sandwich, which a sandwich is by definition 2 or more slices of bread or a split roll having filling in between. So on that note, favorite sandwich, not a hot dog.
Oh my gosh, not a hot dog. Okay, I'm not gonna go controversial in this moment, although I really want to. A hamburger.
I
Hamburger.
love cheeseburgers, so I'm there with
Yeah,
you. That's
yeah.
my friends used
Uh,
to always, I'd be like, oh, I'm having my favorite dinner. I can't leave. When I'm at my parents and they're like, what? I'm like, a cookout, cheeseburgers and corn on the cob and potato salad. Like I love that. That's my favorite. So all
Also,
right.
this has reminded me that I need to update my LinkedIn about because clearly this is people read it is what I've learned from this
Yes.
scenario.
Okay, well, at least I am. And I loved it. I think it was great. But okay, I have a bonus question.
Okay, I'm ready.
How did the name hot dog come about?
Oh my gosh. I don't know.
You'll find it interesting that German immigrants brought the food to New York in the 1860s,
Okay.
and they sold it. They were vendors, sold it on the street. And because of the way they looked like dachshunds.
Mm,
And it started to becoming hot dog. And so that's where the name came from.
man, I wasn't sure if there was a connection, but that is great. I love that.
See,
That's my new fun
I
fact.
like to try to instill some wisdom when during these conversations. So I am glad I can do that.
That's awesome.
Hey, what is it that people get wrong about you when they meet you?
Oh my gosh. I think that because I am extroverted and because I am positive, that I can come off as far more confident than I actually am. I think that like most people, or I shouldn't say most, a lot of type A people I know, I definitely has struggled with imposter syndrome. And I think like leaning into my extroverted nature is just an easy band-aid to get over that, right? If you show up super confident, people will assume that you know what you're talking about. And so I think that there is just this level of confidence that people assume in me when in reality, I think it's far more projected than it's intended to be.
Well, and sometimes, especially for women in business, that can be an asset, really, whether or not, and then eventually, even what you may be insecure about, by doing it, I'm sure then you gain that confidence. So it's, as they say, I'm not saying you're faking it, but I'm just saying like,
Yeah.
like fake it till you make it, like, you gain the confidence, give yourself the opportunity to do it. And then once you are doing it, then that confidence will automatically come.
Oh, and believe me, I definitely have faked it till I made it, especially in my earlier years, I definitely did. So I'm a big believer in that. Yes.
Yeah. Well, no, well, you come across like you're very confident in everything you're doing, and on the panel you were awesome, so yes. So
Yeah.
if there were any insecurities or not you were wondering about, it did not come across at all, and it doesn't.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Well, thank you.
So what advice, we talked a little bit about when you were starting out in school and everything, but just what advice would you give to your younger self?
um, I would say, wow, there's so many things that younger me was just unaware of. I would say that gosh, it sounds so classic, but you don't have to have it all figured out. I, was a person with a plan. I thought I knew a lot of things coming out of school, and like most people in their young 20s, like really thought highly of myself. And I think through my experiences more and more, right, you realize how little you know about the world, what you do know some things about, and again, how to approach life with a bit more open hands and willingness to let things flow and say yes to opportunities that may not feel like it was something you would have forecasted forward or had on a roadmap or on a vision board, because there could be something really great there.
Yeah, and it's funny you hear, because I speak with a lot of women who sometimes it's very much they envisioned a certain, way. Although most of them, they finally had to sort of, let go or realize it's not a straight line kind of thing. But then others are more what you're saying, like be open to all the possibilities. And I'm just curious, because it's on one hand, just being always open, it's, like, I feel like it's almost a combination of the two, like have your, maybe instead of your 10-year plan, 2-year plan, or I don't know if even if that works, then an epidemic hits and, and so then that completely changes things. So you just never know, I suppose.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good to have a plan, right? To put it down on a micro level, right? My team and I were just talking about our Q3 roadmap, and how we're going to kick off planning Q3 together. We're going to have a plan going into Q3 based on the knowledge and information we have now. But from now until the end of June, more things can come up, more learnings could happen, more just anything, which could shift that Q3 roadmap. It may not shift at 100%. It may shift at 25, it may shift at 50, it may shift at 80. But really, we should have at least a vision, but be open to changing that vision based on new things that are happening. So that's really what I would tell my younger self, is like, it's okay to have a dream, but don't be married to that dream. Be open to the realities of today.
Totally agree. Well, on that note, we came to our goodbye. Thank you so much, Kristin. You were awesome. I love getting to know you this way, and I'm definitely looking you up when I go to New York. So we'll be going to Korea, going for Korean food and cutting our hair. So
100%.
plan on it. No, thank you. And thank you for watching. Really love that you join. And also, if you have anyone that you want me to try to, peel back the curtain on, please let me know and I will do my best to get her. So thank you. And Kristin, thanks again.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yay. Okay. We are back. After that commercial break, here we are. So, okay. Okay, so I want to ask you, have you ever had that sort of spur? I mean, I don't even need to ask this. You are the spur of the moment person. We've already established that. But what has been the most recent the most spur of the moment purchase you have made? Let's say the most recent.
The most recent, I mean, I went to Argentina pretty quick, but I would say the most recent has been built upon a previous purchase, which is I have a habit, a hobby, one might say, of buying URLs specifically after a couple cocktails, specifically URLs that I find entertaining. And so during my hot dog sandwich moment of life, I did buy hotdog.or-sandwich.com. And I did very recently actually launch the website.
Really? Wow. So have you gotten response on it? Like, what's happening?
Lisa, I don't know. This literally has been a fun project for
what
me.
Is it? What is it? Tell me what it is.
Hotdog-or-sandwich.com.
What is it? All right.
Hotdog-or-sandwich.com, which is hilarious.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Hot dog or .com. And now everyone's like, she types like a grandmother. Okay. Okay, here we go. Here it is. Can people see it?
Yeah.
This is awesome. So did you put the graphic on it and all that?
Yeah. So here's the thing. This this whole hot dog sandwich thing all spiraled from one of my previous companies where it was like back when it was a hot topic. I made it an interview question, and then it just became a shtick that really just like built on itself. And as a like farewell to that company, I made this presentation as to the department as to like why a hot dog was a sandwich. And so I basically put that presentation on the website, and that is what you have.
Wow. And so there can only be one correct answer.
Only one correct answer.
Okay, I'm going to turn that question on you. What question, aside from the hot dog question,
Okay.
can there only be one correct answer?
Wow. I'm trying not to take this into like such a deep, like metaphysical way. One question, there's only one answer. I mean, absolute truth in and of itself is that, but without taking it down a religious pathway. I mean, is the data right or is the data wrong? Like, the numbers right or the numbers wrong? Is the math correct or is the math wrong? I would go with something logical and binary.
So basically, obviously, if the numbers are what are going to be true. I mean, in the sense of if that's where you can truly find, like looking at the numbers, looking at the data, it's not necessarily how people are believing per se, because then that's all different, whatever. But if you're just looking at the facts of the data, then the numbers have to be correct.
I mean, I would say is the math correct, right? Okay. Like the insights from the math, I think, are very circumstance. You can take a bunch of data and then make determination, but is the math correct? I think is a fair, there's only one right or wrong answer here.
Okay. I'll give you that. So maybe there is a little bit of an analytical side to you, or at least has suddenly, over the career has evolved into you being a little bit more analytical than you sort of thought initially when we were talking.
I mean, I'm a growth and marketing person. I have to be left brain, right brain. I would say the benchmark I used to use for myself and for my team, because a lot of growth marketers feel this, right? Where you are straddling two worlds, a creative world and an analytical world, is at 3 p.m. when your brain is its most tired. What do you prefer? Do you prefer to be in more of a creative marketing space, or do you prefer to be in an Excel sheet and in a data space? And wherever that is probably what your default is closer to. I am personally, I feel very comfortable in Excel at 3 p.m. Whereas I need to be fresh in the morning to be more creative.
So that means you're more innately that detailed, the analytical person.
Definitely.
I would be completely on the creative side. I may never even get to that analytical side. No, I mean, it props up a little bit. I'm very meticulous, but I don't know if that gives data side. I'm a researcher, so I'm very big on knowing everything, and I've always loved, and I love it. So I guess that's a little bit analytical. I just don't get into the numbers. I was never good with the numbers. To my, my dad, the accountant, might have, thought, I should have taken some of that from him.
Definitely analytical, and I can certainly see the desire for research in the way you've approached this conversation. That is evident, clear.
Yes, I had to. I'm like, that is so cool though that you create your own URLs. We just need to do a show on all your URLs. Like we'll just just go through them all and see what's happening with them. But all right, this question may not even need to be asked. So what's the plan B? If you could not be a marketer, what would you be?
Am I trying to make a living still, or is this like
what would be? Yeah, it could just be, even if you only have one customer, that's what it would be.
I see. I would love to do coaching for teams. I think that it was one of the reasons that I joined Gallup is a consulting firm first and foremost. And they are the brain power behind like Clifton Strengths Finder and employee engagement and all these pieces that I find to be so incredibly important. And I am a deep believer of, as much as you can, people should love the place that they work and should have a place where they can grow and develop and excel. And I would love to bring that culture to more places and teams and leaders.
Wow, very cool. Now, so in my mind, of course, when you said coaching to sports, but so I guess I agree. But are there any sports there that might be thrown into the mix?
Ooh, what could I would only be I would only be qualified to coach basketball, women's basketball. I played at a very high level for a long time. But I mean, honestly, I think I'm going to be a great like little league, even if it's not my kid coach. I think it'd be so entertainingly fun. So,
Yeah.
you know,
No,
maybe
you'd be
someday.
like just that positivity. Yeah, like you'd be the one being like, "That's okay, just calm down. We can do it."
Oh my gosh, Ted Lasso is my hero. If I could
Oh,
become Ted
I
Lasso,
love
I would just
that.
morph into Ted Lasso.
Yes, believe. I agree.
Yes,
I love
100%.
it too. Awesome. All right, last question. Guilty pleasure. What is your
Oh my
guilty pleasure?
gosh. So if it's not buying URLs, it is definitely buying URLs is up there. It's definitely buying books. I am a person who, you know, walk into a bookstore, I can stay there for hours, eyes the size of saucers. I have more books on my shelf than I could possibly read just because I'm constantly buying them. I had to put like an embargo on myself this year to be like, you must read at least half the books you've bought so far before you can buy more.
Wow. So it's a physical book as opposed to, you know, going to online and reading the books online or an app
Yeah,
like that.
I have a Kindle because I love my library. I like borrow from the library on Kindle.
Mhm.
But there's just something about physical books. I love the touch and feel of them. I'm the person who writes in books, which also adds to that.
Mhm.
And there's something about seeing them on my shelf, my favorite ones, that is just it's nice to have them present and
Yeah.
not in a digital library that I really, really love.
Yeah, no, I love that. So there's a little bit of old-fashioned girl to you.
Oh, yeah, postcard writing,
Yes, that's what I'm gonna say.
book,
The
like,
letters, the books.
yeah.
So very nice. But then in so many ways you're so modern. So I think it's such a wonderful mix. So and
Well,
thank you, Kristen, so much. I loved getting to know you this way, and I appreciate you taking the time.
thank you so much for having me. It's been so fun, and I can't wait for our New York adventures.
Me too. We will definitely be in touch. Cutting our hair and going for some Korean food and just wandering the streets of New York and
Oh,
seeing where we go.
with a cocktail.
I
With a
will hold
cocktail.
you to it, definitely. So, and
Fabulous.
thank you for
Thank
watching.
you.
And I really appreciate you guys being here. And if you have someone that you want me to see if I can get, peel back the curtain on, please let me know. I will do my best. And Kristen, again, thank you.
Thank you so much.